Famous Amos. Okay.
Start over.
Start over again. No, I'm not starting over again. You got to be kidding. Okay, anyway, just briefly, we're going to talk about a few things.
Hold on a second, please. Gotta wait. Hold on. So good morning, everyone. Is my mic on?
It's on. It's better than
I
this
can't hear myself. Oh, wait, hold on. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning, Melrose.
Does anybody have a word of inspiration for us this morning? Anything they'd like to share that's inspirational? That will get us jumping for joy to get out there and knock on doors and do some back to basics.
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
I don't know if there's luck in this business.
That's the point, Melrose.
Yeah.
It's the hard work.
The hard work. Anybody else?
Activity equals results.
Activities equal results. Doing activities equal results. Anybody
You're not
else?
going to attack him?
I didn't attack you. Hi, Loris. We're being recorded here, Steve. Anybody else have something encouraging to say? No? Rosanna, you always had one to share.
Stay focused.
Stay focused. Stay focused. Great. Thank you all for being here this morning, and I will now turn it over to Mr. Chuck Edab.
Turn it over. Hello, Maria.
Hello, guys.
How are you? Good to see you. Okay. Did you have a dog that you're giving away? Huh, Maria?
Huh?
Did you have a dog that you're giving away?
No, I love my babies.
Oh, okay.
Take it easy, Chuck.
There was a Maria V on Facebook that was giving away a dog.
I love all my pets.
So it wasn't you. That's a good thing. All right, so basically there are a lot of new laws that have come about this year. A lot of them have to do with property management. And I think you're pretty aware of that, aren't you, Kurt?
Is it recording?
Good. You're updated. So I'm not going to go over that stuff with you. Just a few of the basic things. One of the things that you're going to now see is the update on the state's homeowner's guide to environmental hazard booklet, which they added as resources permit 3 new chapters related to the wildfires, the climate change, and sea level, to provide consumers with valuable information regarding those risks. So that is now being added to the booklet. Then it talks about flippers, disclosures. Flippers must disclose recent repairs and renovations. Flippers of residential 1 to 4 properties must declare when disclosed recent repairs, renovations to the property in addition to all other existing disclosures. Applies to properties that are resold within 18 months of closing. Standard TDS categories, exemptions, and cancellations rights apply. So anyway, that's just something that if you're into the flipping end of it, be very cautious that you've got to disclose.
There's a deadline for that, Jeff.
Deadline, when does this law go into effect? Well, the seller accepts the offer from a buyer to purchase the property on or after July 1st, 2024. And enacted in the civil code, transactions where the seller accepts an offer on or after July 1st of this coming year. So that's right here. Okay. Then we
So
got,
let's expand on that a second. So in other words, if you have a client that's investing and decide they're going to flip a home, you just have to make sure they understand they have to disclose every single thing they have done to the property. I mean, Chuck just gave you the synopsis of it, but you really have to insist on that. You have to disclose it, otherwise you can all be in court.
okay,
So that would be a new form.
no.
It doesn't say there's a form for it yet. However, I'll find that out in February. You probably may hear about that.
Okay.
But if any flipping is going on right now, just make sure they document it. You know, make a list of all the things and have it as part of the disclosure.
Are you not on forums anymore at CR?
Not this year,
Why? You should be.
not
Yes.
this year.
I like the fact that when you were on forums, we always knew about it before anybody else on the planet.
Well, we still will hear about it because as long as time permits, right now it's conflicting with me being on the Legal Action Fund Trustee Board
Yeah.
to be on the Forum on Forms. But if you go to Forum on Forms, I mean, you'll be there. If you have time to attend that, you'll still hear everything. I still get the talking points. So I still know exactly what's being changed and all that good stuff. And if for some reason you're working with in a transaction and there's a document that's not filling out properly or something doesn't look right to you and you want to have a comment, send a comment in to carforms@car.org or send it to me. I'll forward it on to them so they can look at that. At any given meeting, they have like 100 and sometimes 50, 160 items that come in from all agents throughout the state regarding something on the documents we use. Some of them are significant and some are not. Some they can change themselves. They call it soft changes. But some of them it has to go for a vote before the committee and stuff when they want to change something significant on a form. But, yeah.
Okay? Okay. All right, moving on is the housing ADUs may be sold separately from the primary unit as a condominium, by the way. That's a new one that's come up. That's Senate Bill 976. And it will allow, it says presently the exemption of an ADU developed by a qualified nonprofit corporation is prohibited to sell an ADU separately from the primary residence. AB 1033 allows local agencies to adopt ordinances to allow the separate primary unit or the ADU to be owner occupied until January 1st, 2025. SB 986 would remove the sunrise provision of AB 881 and thus remove the ability for local governments to require owner occupancy of either unit beginning on January 1st, 2025. The locality may require that if the ADU is rented, it must be rented for 30 days or longer. So that's something new. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, everybody knows on the listing agreements, exclusive listing agreements cannot last longer than 2 years and cannot be recorded. So unfortunately, apparently there have been some agents that have a listing agreement for years, more than 2 years. Crazy. But don't do that. That is no longer allowed. This says the law prohibits exclusive listing agreements on listing residential properties of 1 to 4. Lasting longer than 24 months from the date the agreement was made. Renewing an exclusive listing agreement on the above mentioned type for longer than 12 months from the date the renewal was made. 3 automatic extensions of exclusive listings on any type of residential property. And 4, recording or filing an exclusive listing agreement for the residential property of any duration. The 24-month prohibition applies to exclusive listings on residential 1 to 4 properties, condos, and manufactured homes. So that's a new law that's come into effect.
Okay,
That also begins on January of this year. And go ahead, Melrose.
I think what I heard was 3 automatic renewals. There isn't 3 automatic renewals. It was item number 3.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
So
I was reading that too fast.
he was reading it too fast. So all you have to remember when you take a listing, 12 months and 24 months.
Correct.
You cannot take a listing longer than 24 months. You can do a renewal of a listing no longer than 12 months. Okay?
Very good.
And there wasn't I won't say an organization or a company out there taking 40-year listings. They would target these homeowners, mostly senior homeowners, and they would sign and give them, I don't know how much money, $2,000 or $3,000, to appease them for signing this agreement, and they're not realizing they're signing a listing agreement for 40 years. So even if they passed and their family took over and decided to sell, they are still owed a commission because they have a listing agreement. Without,
And these companies were recording it on title.
and recording it on title, yeah.
Amazing, huh?
So we have scammers in our business too, so just be very careful.
Okay, and the other one here is small claims limit has been increased now. Small claims court now goes up from $10,000 to $12,500 for natural persons, among other limit increases. So that is a new one that just came up. There's something on Prop 19.
Chuck, what about the notaries? Did you mention that?
No, because we don't have anyone that should be notarizing, that's an agent.
But they
So
need
go
to,
ahead.
they need to know it exists.
Go ahead.
So notaries, this is the category, California notaries will be authorized to perform remote online notarization. Out-of-state online notaries are granted clear recognition. That was the subtitle. This law establishes a framework for licensed California notaries to conduct remote online notarization, and you will see the acronym RON, R-O-N, remote online notarization, including provisions for the licensure of remote online notarization platforms by the Secretary of State and requirements relating to data security and privacy in online notarial transactions. California notaries will be authorized to perform RON, which is remote, once the Secretary of State certifies the technology product, but no later than January 1st, 2030. However, California will provide clear recognition of notarial acts performed by persons outside of California if performed in conformity with the laws of that jurisdiction beginning January 1st, 2024. So it exists. And if you have somebody doing notaries in California, as long as they abide by the law, even though they're outside of the state, but they can do the remote, and they have to see the room, you have to put your ID up to the screen, there's things that you have to do if you're using a remote notary.
Has anyone used online? I have.
Have you?
Yeah, and they have you hold your license up so they can see it. It's interesting, but it works. It works.
And they kind of want to see that nobody else is in the room with you, that kind of thing.
Right.
So it does exist. So you should be aware of it.
Anything else you got? That you want to bring up?
Well, you talked about the small claims court is now from 10,000 to 12,500. You talked about
Say
that.
that again?
Small claims.
Oh,
The small claims limit increased from 10,000 to 12,500 for natural persons, among other limit increases. So presently, the small claims court limit for a natural person is 10,000. If no more than 2 claims in one calendar year, this is now increased to 12,500. For a non-natural person, the limit is presently 5,000. If no more than 2 claims in one calendar year, this is now raised to $6,250. The threshold limits on a variety of other types of cases has been raised. However, if a person, either a natural person or an entity, brings more than 2 claims in a calendar year, then the threshold limit remains the same at $2,500.
What is the definition of natural person?
Like you and me,
Okay.
we are natural, versus an entity. Yeah.
Okay,
So I think you're going to deal with Prop 19, right? So we're not,
what?
Prop 19, you're going to handle that? You're not saying anything on Prop 19? You did Prop 19, Chuck?
I did.
No, I haven't. You have anything at all on Prop 19?
No.
No, I do know there's a recall or something coming up right now because I guess a lot of people are complaining that the parents own the home
Right.
and then the taxes are now going to be, it's like a death tax.
There's a lot of recalls going on right now.
Yeah, that one especially.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So that's happening. Of course, on this one, it talks about Senate Bill 890, which talks about Prop 13 cleanup, applies Prop 19 to subsequent transfers of ownership, interest in a mobile home, park, or floating home marina following a tenant acquisition. Cleanup legislation applies Prop 19's modified intergenerational transfers to subsequent transfers of ownership, interest following a tenant acquisition in a mobile home park or floating home marina, treating them as pro rata changes in ownership and subject to reassessment unless another transfer applies. So it's going to be the same.
Was that AC1 or AC13?
This one's, it only says Senate Bill 890.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Well, we'll come back with more on all of them.
On that,
Yes, that would be helpful.
yeah, I figured when you guys come back, you'll have a lot more to say on
Yes.
that one. The same thing with the buyer compensation. I'm sure you'll have a lot of
Yes.
changes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have if we have time, we'll have a little discussion on that a little bit. There's a trespassing, no trespass letter. Have you ever heard of that for a homeowner? No? So it says, trespassing, no trespass letters may be kept on file for up to 1 year. It allows property owners to maintain a no trespass letter on file with the local law enforcement for up to 1 year or for a time determined by local ordinance. Under current law, property owners experiencing problems with trespassers can submit a no trespass letter, commonly referred to as a 602 letter, to local law enforcement. These letters, once filed, remain in effect for 30 days, giving law enforcement the mandate to remove trespassers from the designated property. Senate Bill 602 modifies this procedure so that the property owners will be able to keep their 602 letters active for up to a year or for a time as determined by local ordinance. Additionally, SB 602 allows no trespass letters to be submitted electronically, but will require that all no trespass letters be notarized and on a form provided by law enforcement. So you're aware that, if you're having problems with the neighbors, you can file a no trespass law.
Hope you don't want to live there.
Vacation rentals, disclosure of all mandatory fees. Beginning July 1st, 2024, AB 537 prohibits a place of short-term lodging as defined from advertising, displaying, or offering a room rate that does not include all fees or charges required to stay at the short-term lodging except government-imposed taxes and fees. I think that's it. The other little piece on the vacation rentals were SB 644 requires short-term rentals or a hosting platform, hotel or third-party booking service to allow consumer to cancel a reservation within 24 hours without penalty if made at least 72 hours or more before the time of check-in, and to have the funds refunded to the original form of payment. That's it for this part.
Very good. Okay, now we get the past president of Bayes. You have some
Steve
information
who?
for us? Steve who?
See?
No.
It's interesting. Did anyone know that there are 10 neighborhoods in Palm Springs where the home prices have fallen by 50%? Would that blow your mind to hear that?
Yeah,
Yeah. And would it blow your mind to know why?
right.
Because an idiot city council in Palm Springs passed an ordinance that would only allow 20% of any neighborhood to have Airbnb. And what it did, it immediately limited the sellers in those neighborhoods from selling, because the investors bought these properties. They can't rent them out because they didn't get a stupid license from the stupid city of Palm Springs and their stupid city council. And if I seem agitated by it, I am. I'm always up here talking about advocacy. That's what I do. You know, at Bay East, that's what I do at CAR, it's what I do at NAR. There are city councils out there and municipalities that are always passing idiot ordinances that affect us as realtors. They affect our clients. So we're always fighting them, you know. I'm a big guy about litigation, you see. For many years, let me back up. I got involved with Bay East because of this fool who said, go to this meeting and they'll tell you about the committees, you know, at Bay East. So I went and I saw this one committee, LGR, Local Government Relations. And I asked the guy who was there, Dave Stark, I didn't know who he was at the time. He goes, yeah, we build relationships with elected officials and try to find officials that are like-minded in realtor issues. And I went to one of their meetings, and I was just incensed how they would talk about how a politician said they're going to vote this way, and they don't. They lie to your face. It just really pissed me off. And so I got all involved in local government relations, and I built these relationships with all these mayors and council people. And for the most part, most of the relationships that I have built, they have stayed true to their word that they were going to support us on this issue or that issue. But it is an ongoing thing, and it's always a problem to get the elected official, these politicians, to do what they say they're going to do. One way that I think is really more advantageous for us is litigation, because that's the only thing some of these politicians understand. So we do that through the Pacific Legal Foundation. And Melrose, the committee you're on, are you guys doing litigation against municipalities and stuff like that? Or do we have another group that does that?
Another group.
Another group.
Yeah.
But, and are you chairing or vice chairing your committee? And loudly, what's the name of that committee?
Legal Action Fund Trustees.
Okay. That's an entity that's fighting for property rights. We have another entity that does that as well. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the Pacific Legal Foundation. If you haven't heard of that, they started out as a foundation that fought for against eminent domain, because eminent domain has been abused across this country. So that's one of the ways that we advocate. But I believe that advocating now, the best way to advocate is to sue municipalities. And that's what Pacific Legal Foundation does. And we've had some associations in Santa Barbara. The ADU law was passed, so it's supposed to streamline the process for ADUs, right? And they were dragging their feet, and they were charging extra rates, and they were doing all kinds of stuff that by law they weren't supposed to do. So the association sued the city council because they weren't enforcing the ADU laws, and they sued the city. And oh wow, you know what happens is when city councils or city municipalities get sued, they get nervous because they're going to spend a lot of money in legal fees, and they don't want that. That's how come, by the way, we're on district elections now in Fremont, because we were threatened with a lawsuit by some lawyer in Santa Barbara or somewhere, and he was just in it for the money, which I don't know if you've heard this, but a lot of the lawyers, that's what they do. In fact, all the lawsuits we're going through right now, it's because of lawyers. They're the only ones that are going to get any money. Yep. Anyway, so I'm just a big advocate of us litigating. If we sue a municipality, it's going to get us where we want to be a lot quicker than, oh, hey, Steve, you're a great guy. We're gonna support your realtor issues. So, but moving on, CAR is next month in Monterey. The reason I bring it up is because we go there. I'm a director and I go, but I've always encourage anyone to go to CAR and check it out, you know. I know some of you went to Legislative Day last year. Wasn't that fun? Yes. She was in a video, for God's sake. It was wonderful. It was great, wasn't it? We had so much fun. And Legislative Day is always cool because, you know, being in Sacramento is always fun. The next month we're going to be in Monterey. It's real close. You can drive down there, go see some meetings. Part of the cool part of a CAR that I've found is the debates. I've gone into a CAR directors meeting thinking a certain way about a certain thing, and I've changed my mind 12 times during debate because someone will get up and say they believe this. I go, man, that's really sharp. I agree. And then the next person would get up, it's just entirely opposite, but they were so passionate and good with their debate. I said, I think I believe it that way. And it's just great to hear diverse and opposing views to all these issues, right? So next month we'll be in Monterey. One of the things I want to talk about today, and I rant and rave about advocacy in these municipalities and city councils and stuff like that. By the way, I'll send the article over that I read this morning about Palm Springs. It just blew my mind. Blew my mind because they couldn't get the stupid license that you have to get. A guy, a realtor investor, paid 1.8 for his place, couldn't get the license, and put it on the market, and he hasn't even been able to get $1 million for it.
Same thing in Tahoe.
Yeah, well,
South Lake Tahoe Measure T,
Yep.
in the city limits.
yep,
So all the homeowners that are close to the lake and all the big within the city limits cannot have Airbnbs. So then they're holding. The lawsuits happen. It still is not accomplished. And
No.
El Dorado only has 900
yeah,
Airbnb permits
Right.
allowed. So then if they don't allow it, now you lose it. It takes months.
Yeah.
It can take years to get it back. So now those people either had to rent their properties full time or sell them.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think happened to the property prices?
right. And why do we care? Why do we care? Because this is our business.
Because I have.
It affects us.
Or if you
It
own
affects-
one, you're screwed. I
Exactly.
happened to be in the county. My mom was very smart,
Right.
but
I'll give you another example. One of our agents, James Lip, he's got property in, did you still have it in Montclair, Oakland?
I think
He has some lots there.
He does, I think.
Yeah, well, he wants to sue everybody because, you know, he says, Steve, this is not America. I have to pay a tax on a vacant piece of land for no reason. Not like, oh, you haven't trimmed the grass or the weeds. It has nothing to do with any of the upkeep or any of that. It's just the fact that you have a vacant lot and they want to tax it. It's in San Francisco too, and one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because part of my role at CAR is this year I'm vice chair of Impact Trustees. And what we do is we're the ones that either approve or don't approve requests from associations around the state to either fight an ordinance like that or put money into a campaign to fight it, to sue. I mean, they come to us for the impact funds. And the impact funds come from all of our dues. Some goes to impact, which is Issues Mobilization PAC. And the other one is a CREPAC, which is candidates. So impact is issues, CREPAC is candidates. So I had an emergency meeting Monday for impact because the High Desert Association down there by Palm Springs, I don't think it's Palm Springs, but it's somewhere around there. They requested funds to fight a ballot initiative in their area. And it's the exact same thing, taxing vacant lots. And they're so freaked out because, oh, it's going to spread if it happens here. And I said, hey, folks, it's already spread. But you're right. You're on the right side of this issue. So, of course, I voted to approve. And we're going to be, and that was an early request. We usually take those requests at CAR, but we had an emergency meeting because the state's moved up our primary to March, so they have to get their funds now, so they can fight it, yeah.
are these vacant lots have anything to do with agriculture, so it's anything that doesn't have a dwelling, we're just talking in residential neighborhoods that are vacant homes,
All of it,
vacant lots.
all of it. Any
Do you
vacant
mean
lot.
ag,
Yeah.
everything?
Everything. They're trying to tax every vacant lot they can because they want the money. They need the money.
Because it's vacant. So
Well,
even
basically-
though they have an enterprise and they're running livestock or cattle or farming.
I don't know if there's any
or-
exemptions.
Or farming,
Yeah. I don't know if there's any exemptions.
I mean, you're out growing.
I haven't seen the verbiage of the,
Is this new?
of the initiative that's going on the ballot. I haven't seen, there might be some exemptions. But they're going after, I know it seems, how can this possibly happen? Well, it happens because you have municipalities that think they can tax anything they want because they need the money, okay? That's what we do. That's what your dues pays for, is advocacy. We're fighting all the time because if we don't, they're just gonna roll us over. And they're just gonna get these things passed, and by that time, it's too late.
Do we have a number on this?
No, I can look it up, but it's a local ordinance, not a
Not a
about,
state, so
not a
each
itewide.
county is doing their deal.
Particular city or?
Each
Yeah,
county
it's
or
in,
each
it's in
city?
the high desert.
I just,
Each county or each city?
Well, it all depends. You know, this happens to be a city. I'm just not sure. It's the High Desert Association that's making the request because it's in their area. So I'd have to get the particulars. But the reality is, it doesn't matter. There, you know, for me, as an impact trustee, one of the things about impact trustees is that we don't have to go to the board of directors for approval, which I like, because I'm always fighting the man. You know what I'm saying? I like not having to, get approval from anyone. They come to us for a request for funds. My answer is yes. You add me at hello, because they're doing heavy lifting. They're out there fighting these things that we don't even know about, you know? And, you know, the other thing is electrification. The state of California is trying to force everyone off of gas. And we're fighting that too.
Berkeley does.
Yeah, we're fighting it. But that's what we do, you know? And so that's one of the things that we'll be discussing next month at CER. So when I come back next month after CER, I'll have some more updates on all this stuff, and legislative, what we do at Impact, because we know it's an election year, there's going to be a lot more issues that we're going to be fighting, and candidates we're going to be backing or not backing. So we got that. Another thing, you know, I did want to say something about my president year. I thanked Chuck and Melrose the other night in my speech. I'm sure you probably noticed that I mentioned, oh, she didn't even notice. Yeah, I mentioned both of their names in my speech.
a lot of names.
Because without them and without some of you in this room, I would have never won my election, I would have never been president, I would have never had this experience. And I'm just very thankful, because I wouldn't, you know, if he hadn't sent me to the meeting, and quite frankly, when I ran for treasurer, back then you had to run for an election every year. Now there's a nominating committee, and you got to jump through a bunch of hoops with the nominating committee to become a board of board of directors and to be an officer. But back in the old days when I did it, we had to run for election, right? And Melrose was burning up the phone with all of you agents the night before the election was going to be over, saying, "You better vote for Steve." You better vote for... So if she hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have won, because I won by a very small margin. But it all turned out, so I owe you two both. That's why I thanked you in my speech, even though you didn't notice.
I heard.
Yes, she notices everything, Steve.
Okay.
She doesn't miss a thing. By the way, thank you for what you said about Ron Lister.
I was just going to mention that. You know Ron Lister. He's been here forever. We all know Ron. Love him dearly. He and I. Well, he's you know, I'm a jokester. He's a jokester. We're always joking, you know, and that's why I just love the guy. And he's been a realtor for over 50 years, and an active realtor. And it's like, you know, I wanted to acknowledge him. So at the inaugural, I did, and I got everybody to give him a round of applause. And,
For Jerry as well.
it was great. It was great. He called me. I got to call him back. He left me a couple messages, and but I was in meetings all day yesterday. So, but it was great. One other thing I want to talk about. Real proud of this because it's my baby. It's my passion. I started a program at Bay East called RAW. If you haven't heard of it, it stands for Realtor Affiliate Wellness. And the reason I did that, I come from a background of recovery. Alcoholic, drug addict. I've been clean and sober for, 24 years now. So I used to be quite the party boy, but back in the day, everybody was. Kurt's going, yeah. It was pretty crazy back then. It was nuts back then, this business, anyway. So anyway, I've been clean and sober that long, and I'm also a former pastor, and I have a lot of love towards helping people and wellness for our members. And let's face it, coming out of COVID, we were all a hot mess. I mean, mentally. And what we're going through now, we have agents in our business that, and when I started Raw, it was with the intent of, there must be a lot of drinkers and druggers out there that are in the closet and hiding. And what we found is there's not a lot of that. What there is a lot of is people that have a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of depression. And so what we do at Raw is we're just there to listen. We have a meeting once a month at Bay East. It's the last Tuesday of every month at Bay East. And what we do is it's an hour long. We just listen to what's on your mind. And it's a safe place. Everything's anonymous. When I run into people that come to the Raw meeting at a marketing meeting or something, I never say to anyone, I know what's his name from a Raw meeting. It's all about anonymity and being safe, okay? And I tell people all the time, if you are depressed or anxious, you're a candidate, for Raw. If you have a drinking, overeating, gambling, whatever. If you have those issues, you're a candidate to come to our Raw meeting. If you're perfect in every single way, then you're definitely a candidate because you're delusional and you should be coming to Raw. Right? And we have a small little group, but we're there to listen to people, and that's all we can do. Well, the thing about Raw is that now it's spreading, and I was on a panel at NAR a couple months ago talking about installing Raw into your particular association all over the country. Now we're getting requests to install Raw in Arizona, Chicago, all over the place. And next month at CAR, I'll be doing another panel. I may be moderating it, we don't know yet, but it's been booked, and we're going to have a panel on Raw, and we're going to tell associations how they can put a Raw program into their association. And we are also, if you go to a CAR as a director and you look through the schedule, they have AA meetings, and I go to them all the time when I'm at CAR. It's kind of cool. And we're also going to have a Raw meeting worked into the schedule at CAR. So these are all accomplishments we've done this year that are taking place this year. We did last year, taking place this year. So I'm pumped about that, and when we come back after CAR, we'll have all kinds of legislative updates, and we'll have Raw updates, and we'll have some impact updates. I'm also on federal. I don't know if I'll. Usually the legislative and federal kind of roll together, so we'll have more to talk about. Does anyone have any questions about anything they want me to check out while I'm at CAR, any issues? I know we'll be talking about all the lawsuits, all the NAR stuff that's going on. If you haven't heard, we have a new NAR president, Kevin Sears, who is a wonderful human being. I know Kevin well. He's a great guy. I knew Tracy well, too. Huh?
So the other two before him.
Yeah, well, you know what, Tracy for sure, great gal. Kenny Parcell, who I also know, he stepped down because of sexual harassment claims, and so those kind of things concern me. A lot of times in our environment now, what used to be okay is not okay anymore. Is that me? Can you hear that?
Yeah, we heard
It's ringing in my hearing aid. I'm so confused. I'm sorry, I thought I turned it down. I did turn it down, I just don't know how to work this phone, because I'm an Android guy and I now have an iPhone. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I finally got an iPhone, my wife forced me.
You don't need to turn it down, just
I'm
put
just
the
gonna turn it
button on
off.
the side. No,
I already did that.
the side, the orange one.
I already did that.
Well,
Why would I lie?
well, it needs to ring in your ears for that.
Okay. What was I talking about? Oh, so anyway, yeah, Kenny was accused of that, and usually for me, I know everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but where there's smoke, there's usually fire. When you have that many people making those sorts of accusations, he had to step down. But his successor, Tracy, realtor from Idaho, great human being. She ended up stepping down because someone was trying to blackmail her about something she had done in her past that had nothing to do with real estate. So it's just a crazy time out there right now. So I talked to Kevin last week, and I said, dude, I sure hope you don't have anything in your closet that's gonna make you step down. You know, he goes, oh, no. Because I've been cleaning my life up for years. The reality is that we all have things in our past that we're not proud of. We all do. And the thing is, I wish there was a little more grace in our society and forgiveness, but there isn't. You know, people glom onto these things and try to ruin you over them. So I'm happy that Kevin doesn't have anything in his past, at least not that we know of, that's going to make him have to step down. But what's going on at NAR is they have a commission set up that is going through every procedure at NAR for staff, for leaders that are going to clean up a lot of the problems that exist there. And as far as litigation, NAR feels very strongly, and I agree, that in appeal, we're going to prevail on all of these lawsuits. So we're not writing the checks yet. I also think that there will probably be settlements before we get all the way through appeals at NAR. But, and I'll be at NAR again this year too. I'm on a couple different committees. So we got a lot to update you about after CAR and then after our next NAR meeting. So, okay, that's it. That's all I got.
Great job.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Sorry about the phone.
You know, it's good we have representation from CAR and NAR. Two people, Melrose and Steve. Pretty
what
soon
committee
Frank's
you-
going there, right, Frank?
We'll
What committee
see.
are you on at NAR, Melrose?
This year, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, you declined, huh?
But you'll be there.
I'm not sure. If I go, I'll go to Boston.
Oh.
Yeah,
You've been on NAR for so long.
yeah.
This is odd.
I need
Frank,
a
as a
year's
director,
break.
you have anything?
Actually, the only thing I do want to say is that, in fact, here, do you mind? if I
No,
just real
please.
quick? Okay. I'm not going to be as long as Steve, but just to make it real quick. People say, what do you do as a director? What is that? And really the way this, first initially, there was a director assigned to each different district within the East Bay, Bay East. And I was assigned to be part of this district, the Tri-City, Newark, Fremont, and Union City. So as a director, my job is to take whatever information or issues that you might have for me to bring it to the board of directors meetings. We have those once a month at the end of the month. And our job is to represent what we're experiencing or hearing from the folks out in the field. Lita came to me one time, but this is because I was on MLS committee also. She told me about an issue, about a concern about something on MLS that probably needed to be changed. Well, it was brought up as a motion at the board of directors, and we approved it, and the change was made. So there are different things that we can affect, the rest of Bay East by just letting us know what's going on. I go to marketing meetings to be able to understand, how are things going? Are there issues coming up, sign issues, whatever it may be. So please, my request of you is to let me know if you think there's something out there that I can help represent you with and bring it up. Steve is our president, and by the way, Steve, thank you for all you've done for us as president. We truly appreciate it. But
Can I add something?
yeah,
My greatest achievement and my president year was appointing you to the board. We had an opening and I appointed Frank, not because I love him dearly, but because he's qualified and he's the man. He's gonna be president of this association someday.
We'll see, we'll see. But, thank you, Steve. But
I second that.
what we do,
The pressure!
but what we have to do is, as district heads, we give a report to the whole board as to what we see happening. They go to Pleasanton, they go to the Central, Alameda, and so I do. I represent Tri-City, and I say, here's what I hear, here's what's going on, and here's where we need to put some effort or action toward. So anyway, just want to let you know, please feel free to let me know if you see, hear anything. I will be more than happy to bring that forward to the board.
However, the board structure has changed, correct?
That it has. As it used to be an election where I would be running against others in this district, as Steve mentioned also earlier, all board and officers of Bay East now are put in a nomination committee, and we submit a request to go another term or whatever, if you haven't, to be your first time. And then the nomination committee interviews you, and then you get chosen.
But I thought all the directors are now
At large.
At large,
at-large
yeah,
directors.
we are.
So does that mean that you have a requirement to attend all the different meetings, marketing meetings?
There is not a requirement,
Oh.
it is highly suggested, but a lot of times we aren't able to, but we do have different representatives on the board of directors that do attend.
That live in those
and
areas.
live in those
that
areas.
would-
Strongly encouraged.
Strongly
Strongly
encouraged,
encouraged.
so, but you're right, Melrose, it's no longer by district, it's at large, so I can have anybody throughout the whole Bay East district or area that wants to talk to me, or talk to any of the directors.
And we want our directors to get out to the other areas anyway.
That is true.
Kind of see how the other districts live.
And I do want to make one last plug. If you are at all interested in wanting to get involved in any of these committees or get on the leadership team, I truly, truly would support you in that. If you're interested, I'll be happy to talk to you. I know Steve, Chuck, or Melrose. These are all ex-presidents of Bay East here. We're very fortunate to have all of them with us, but I'm sure they'll be happy to share with you their experience. But I do encourage it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. You're the
Very
man.
good.
Frank for president.
Just letting you know that I also am on the MLS committee at Bay East. I'm on the professional standards committee at Bay East. Chuck and I are both on the past presidents. Chuck, Steve and I are on the past presidents committee. And so any issues at all, no matter what arena, as long as it's real estate related, come see any of us. Frank is on the board. Allison is also on the board. She has had a respiratory infection, so you haven't seen her for a while. So she's keeping a low profile.
Yeah, she wasn't at the inaugural, I know.
She was not feeling well.
She wasn't feeling well, so.
Oh, poor kid.
But I just wanted to share with you the objective of the committee that I'm on, that Steve mentioned, which is the Legal Action Fund trustee. I'll tell you, I haven't memorized it, so I'm going to repeat it. It's the committee, well, the trustees are here to advance the CAR Association's mission and legal objective by providing legal resources and or financial support concerning legal issues that will have a statewide impact on realtors, primarily in the area of broker liability and practice in private property rights. So our group pretty much deal with you, the realtors, not the big massive lawsuits that you see. Anything that would affect us, we dive into, okay?
Melrose,
Okay,
Yes?
I have a question. If I'm calling the legal hotline, but the house is not going to be in the market and won't be in the market, can I ask them legal questions? So that means that basically the house won't be in the market. And I don't think it will be in the market. So can I ask them questions?
Well, if it's related to a property, I don't see why not. Why, I mean, you can ask a question. They can either say, well, yes or no, I can't answer you, whatever, but I'm sure you can ask them a question. If it's pertaining to private property rights or real estate, I'm sure they'll answer you the question. Right.
okay. Now, let's move on. buyers wants and needs this morning? Anybody?
Wait, before that, I should have said this before he walked in. There is 2 cards downstairs on the counter. Could you please stop by and sign those cards? One is for Sumi, who lost his brother, and the other is Jerry, who lost his wife. So if you'd please sign those cards, I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay, buyers wants and needs, anybody? Anybody have anything coming up? Nothing? Wow. Exciting group. You guys are gonna have to go to work, man, you're not making any money.
I do have a few things, Javed, don't leave yet.
And,
I would like to thank you guys for sending out the glance, at a glance.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
It's huge.
it is.
It makes a huge difference in my day. It gives me a barometer of what's happening without, some of us that aren't working, kind of got stuff in the works but aren't in the meat of it all, can kind of see, and when we're having those conversations, it's not taking our time to go hunt it down by city. It's huge. It's
Thank
huge.
you, appreciate that.
Yeah, we gotta make sure that it's not a big.
Actually, that originally started when Kay came to work for us. She came to me and asked if we could do something like that, so that's when that started.
That's great.
Just wanted to share a couple things with you. It says, what can you do to prepare for 2024? Even though we're almost to the end of the first month, it says, stay competitive. Technology is expected to play a significant role in global, well, just say in the global real estate industry in 2024, but it's the whole real estate industry. The other thing is be aware of the trends that are happening in real estate. Some of the real estate trends that are expected to shape the industry include increased use of artificial intelligence, so you know the AI, so you're gonna see a surge of that. Greater adoption of virtual and augmented reality. Blockchain technology for secure transactions. More smart home technology, greater focus on sustainability, and enhanced digital transaction management. So these are some of the trends that are out there. They say stay focused, stay competitive, stay focused on relationships, and take care of yourself. Those are the things. The other quick thing I wanted to mention, if you've started using the buyer broker agreement, please be very careful. There are some forms that go with that document. You have to use the ABC, what is it? Hold on. ABCD form. This goes hand in hand when you fill out that buyer broker agreement. And also the SPVB may come into play. If you check that 3G3 box on the purchase agreement, then this SPG form comes into play. So please be careful, read it. The form is so short. I mean, it's only 3 pages. Compared to what we used to have before, the buyer broker agreement before was much longer than this and much more cumbersome. This is down to 3 pages, but you just have the 2 supplemental pages that go with it, right? And make sure you put a buyer transactional advisory advising the buyer about being in a transaction. That also goes in it. So if you're not sure about anything, always go through the form, highlight all the acronyms you see in the form, which is additional forms that may come into play if you use that particular form, and then go through it and read it. It's very, very helpful, okay? Thank you. That's it.
That's it? Okay. Anybody have any general announcements?
Marketing meeting this Thursday. Guest speaker will be Sierra Craig, who is the instructor for Bay East. She'll be talking about some of the technologies that you can use on the system.
Yes,
Yes. That's
very
right.
short.
And again, a reminder, you no longer have to go, is there a meeting this Thursday or next Thursday? It's every Thursday now. Every Thursday, 9 o'clock.
And of course, we missed Super Tour.
And Super Tour. Oh, he's not here anymore. But anyway.
Let's go, I know.
Yeah, so, 9 o'clock, Centerville Community Center here in Fremont.
Okay.
Also, Realty Experts is a sponsor of the marketing meeting. So it'd be nice for us to have some Realty Experts
Actually, I think
bodies
we're
there.
probably the one office that has the most agents there.
I think so, yes.
We need more. Yes,
I would like to attend one, I haven't yet, and I wanted to know, is it $5 cash or we can do $5 on a card?
It can be cash or card.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you for that.
okay, anybody else have any general announcements?
We'll take the money no matter what.
They'll find a way.
All right, this is for new agents. How many new agents are coming to the class this afternoon at 1 o'clock? Brand new, brand new, raise your hand. Super Tour! Super Tour! That's it, thank you. We needed that.
Yeah, we needed it.
All right, raise your hand if you're coming to the class at 1 o'clock today.
1 to 2, or maybe 2:30, 1 hour.
I got
What's the
1,
class
2,
on?
that's it?
Purchase agreement.
You can't make it? You can't make it? Oh, Lord, nobody.
What's the class on?
No, you have 2.
I have a class on purchase agreement, it's gonna be a little different. It'll be in the round table, it'll be very personal, so those who want to attend, okay, good. I have a room for exactly 7. So, all right, sounds good, thank you so much for attending, and we'll see you soon. Enjoy the day.
Thank you for making the changes, it really helped.